So as we sense a deeper dimension of being within ourselves, we start to come closer to the truth that there is no one required to validate our existence. And this is the quiet presence of being that is available to us now, in the singularity of our existence, in the I am. It's not defined by relationship, and it's not strengthened by praise nor diminished by criticism. It's always here. It is simply the ground of our experience. Again, the I am. It's intrinsic to our nature. It doesn't require or come from connection with anyone. This is important and inevitable on the path of recognizing who we really are, beyond roles or identity derived from those roles. And it may be that at first it feels very unsettling because we've relied on connection for our safety or our worth. It's familiar, so we may feel like the ground is falling away. Old relationships, family relationships, friendship relationships may start to shift or even dissolve, and it may feel like we are losing something. We may feel that we are alone. But we're really invited to look more closely, to look more intimately at that, to see that what's falling away is not love itself, but the structures of identity that were built around the idea of love coming from a relationship. And so, in fact, we're not losing anything. We're not losing anything essential. And we're simply returning to the truth of who we are. It's also important that we recognize that this doesn't mean that we have to reject anyone, reject people, nor withdraw from life. It doesn't require us to abandon family or friends. It doesn't require us to retreat into solitude and shut everything and everyone out. Not at all. It's simply a shift in the foundation of relationship. And in fact, when we no longer believe that others are necessary to complete us, then we're free to relate without fear. We're free to love without clinging. We're free to engage with others without putting on a performance. We can listen without trying to protect a self-image. There's no strategy. It's simply a natural expression. Being with others is a natural expression of our own being. And so relationships take on a whole new quality. We're not seeking fulfillment from others. Therefore, we don't impose expectations on them. We're available to meet each person as they are without agenda. There's closeness without entanglement. Honoring freedom, our own freedom and others. Of course, it's especially challenging in family, where the matrix has the strongest hold on us and the strongest hold on family members, because conditioning is the strongest. Family systems are built on unspoken agreements: belonging, loyalty, responsibility, identity. And when these agreements start to loosen up as we awaken to our own true nature, then others may resist this seeming change. And they may be confused. But it's important. We should say that you allow these relationships, these structures, to not define your role. That you inhabit these relationships with kindness and clarity, but without compromising what you know in the depth of your being. This means choosing to engage and choosing to step back, saying no without guilt and yes without obligation. This may seem somewhat cold or distant, or certainly different to those who have got used to a certain structure of relationship. But we must trust that this is not coldness, it's intelligence. The intelligence of love, in fact. And so friendships or even family dynamics may shift, loosen, even fall away. And we don't have to force this, we don't have to reject anyone. It'll simply find its rightful place. It's like a tree shedding its leaves to make space for new growth. To simply trust that. There's an intelligence that guides the movement of life, which is far deeper and far truer than personal preference. Very often the relationship itself shifts, if you like, to we could say a higher dimension, but we can also call it a deeper allowing of each other, which is love, a kindness and clarity that wasn't there before. And so allowing it to take its own shape, its own form. And sometimes this inner shift brings us into a period of aloneness, where the pull to be with others is, or family or friends, or seeking that connection is not as strong as it was. And sometimes the mind interprets that as loneliness or isolation or some kind of lack. But again, to trust that movement, it's a sacred period in which we're invited to go inwards, to turn inwards and recognize the fullness of our own presence, to see what remains when everything falls away, to discover that aloneness is not loneliness. Loneliness comes from the ache in the belief that we are separate, whereas aloneness, when we see it without any overlay, is unity. The recognition that we are inseparable from life itself. No one, no circumstance, no person can take this away from us. It's our birthright. It's the ground of being, the ground of I am, which can never leave you or abandon you. As this recognition of the true essence, vibration, frequency of all oneness, aloneness, starts to really filter in and become embodied, then the need for connection dissolves. That desperate need to connect with another so that I can feel more complete simply falls away. Again, it doesn't mean that you reject anyone or deny the natural movement of being with others. It's simply that you are not deriving your identity from that. And therefore it's not a need, a demand. You're not a separate being trying to connect. Relationship, interaction, engagement is simply the field in which all arises, all beings. So then, relating simply is a participation in the dance of life, and we can trust the movement of that. And there's no longer a fear of losing anything or needing anything. And there's no need to strategize relationships. We no longer have to be somebody someone else wants us to be. We don't have to chase approval or fear rejection. We're simply fully content in ourselves. So we can be alone or we can be with others. But the inner peace is the same.